Alrighty, happy Taurus. From April 19th to May 19th, we are in the month of Taurus. And so for this episode, the readings will be for the earth signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. I also have a astrological profile going through the characteristics and traits of Taurus in relation to astrology. It's a general overview. It's nothing comprehensive. And also in relationship to the major arcana, the relationship that the sign of Taurus has to its ruling card of the Hierophant, and also the relationship to the planet Venus, which is ruled by the Empress. So I talk about those cards in particular, their energies, their properties, how they come in various situations for basically it's investment, how we take care of ourselves, how much we put into ourselves, but also how much we put out as well. So I go over that briefly. And have the link in the description if you want to take a look at that and just get a general overview of the sign of Taurus and its relationship to the tarot and to astrology. So as I mentioned, I'm going to start with Taurus. Taurus is a fixed sign. It represents a point of spring where it is at its fullest. We start seeing things growing from the start of the month of Pisces, Aries, as Aries was ushering in the spring season. Now, as we go into the month of Taurus, it's at its fullest peak. So everything is centered around fertility. Beltane, May 1st, is a big part of this tradition of abundance. Releasing what we've been working on. So that's for the spring season of Taurus. Virgo is a mutable sign. It's an earth sign, and it represents more or less the transition of the season of summer into fall. So that's usually Virgo comes in. I know exactly off the top of my head, but it's usually around August 20th, 21st. It's that third week of August as we get ready to move into our fall months. So again, Virgo is an earth sign, but it's a mutable sign. All the mutable signs represent the transitional part of one season into the next. And then our third earth sign is Capricorn. It's a cardinal sign. So the cardinal signs represent the start of a season. And Capricorn welcomes in the winter months. So I'm just putting this ahead so you get an idea seasonally, characteristically, the characteristics being fixed, mutable, and cardinal, and where they fall in the seasons. Okay, so with this episode, again, I'll talk a little bit about those seasonal characteristics, but we're gonna bring in and center in all on the spring energy and how Taurus will be of influence for its own sign from April 19th to May 19th, but also during that time period, what influences can come in for the other two earth signs of Virgo and Capricorn. Okay, so I'll spend probably about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. So don't feel like you got cheated out of time because I spent maybe less time on one sign, maybe more on the other. I try to be fair, but these are all energy readings, so I go based on how I'm feeling, and if the message is very clear and open, it tends to be a shorter interpretation, but with quite a bit of detail. So the deck that I'm going to work with for the earth signs, and I think I'm going to be changing it up. I have the decans on either side of me. The decans are the three cards, 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 degrees. These are the positions of planets in relation to the minor arcana. So for instance, for this month, for Taurus, we have a 5, 6, and 7 of pentacles or coins, or stones if you're working with the Wildwood Tarot. And so they all are assigned planetary placements. So we are in the month of Taurus. So our 5 of Pentacles or coins is by the Golden Dawn system is ruled by Mercury. Number 6, our 6 of coins, is ruled by the moon itself. And that represents I think that is it is our second decan, and I believe it comes in from May 1st to May 10th, give or take a day. And then our 7 of Pentacles or coins is our third decan. So it represents the last week of Taurus. And that is usually May 11th to the 20th, depending on give or take a day. So, so for this first week, we are as we enter the first week of Taurus, we are in the 5 of Coins. Okay. So the reason why I mention that is I will try to bring in some of the decans influences during the time that I'm doing these readings. And I have my decans laid out from various decks to see how they are interpreted. And so it's interesting to see each deck give their own interpretations of the 5 of stones, coins, pentacles. So I have various decks here, and I'm using them as reference for this month when I do my readings. Okay, so here we go. So for our first week, April 20th or April 19th let's go to probably April 30th. Again, give or take a day, depending on what system you work with. This will be Mercury in Taurus for our first week of Taurus. Mercury rules the mind. Had a moment there. Mercury rules the intellect, knowledge, communication, and Taurus being a fixed sign. And an earth sign, Mercury is that air. So communication comes with Mercury in many different ways, by speech, by hand gestures, body movements, writing, how we communicate online, also in person. But with that element of Taurus, Mercury in Taurus for this first decan week of Taurus represents more of a focused, more of a steadiness when it comes to speaking or when it comes to writing. Things tend to slow down because we just came out of this Aries month of a lot of movement. Things are starting to push things forward. Now, when we take this energy, this fiery energy of Aries, and we transfer it into Taurus, we want to create a stability. So all this energy that's been moving around and this excitement, the springing out, the blossoming of energy, of getting things into motion, now we got to stabilize it. Okay, not to keep it still. Okay, earth signs don't necessarily mean it is of stillness. There is movement, but it's the action that we take the movement in. So we create something a little bit more directed, a little bit more focused, but also something with Taurus is that it's the beginning of something that they're going to spend time with. So if there is something that you're working with during this month of Taurus, this is a time to just really hone in and make a commitment, be determined, and dedicated with what you're working with. And that applies to all things, relationships, to yourself. Start focusing on yourself, your well-being, and what is of great importance to really make you grow as an individual. Okay, so let's go right into it, Taurus. So I'm going to work with the Witch's Wisdom for this reading. Series of readings for Earth. It's a very Earth-oriented deck. I have quite a few nature-influenced decks, but I did a reading for myself the other night with this deck, and I feel it's a good way to open up the channels for the Earth signs. Okay, so here we go. Okay. Alrighty. So this is reading for Taurus. Happy birthday to my fellow brothers and sisters, moon rising, and sun signs. This is our birthday reading for our month. So my gift to all my Taurus friends out there. So I have the 3 cards I pulled, and I normally do 3 cards, is I got 2 major arcana cards, very important. These are guidance cards that we really have to focus on. And then I got this particular card's been popping up in past readings. So I take that as a key for me to pay attention to. So I'm going to start with the card that is the center point of the readings for each of the signs. So the card I pulled is the Priestess card. Okay. Now this system is quite different. It does make reference a bit to the RWS, but it is different. So I'm not going to focus so much on the meanings of the Rider-Waite-Smith, because card 20 for Rider-Waite-Smith is associated with judgment. But here we have the Priestess card. Okay, and look at the background that we have here. We have the full moon connecting with energy. We also see here in the center, sorry for the background noise, my new environment here. And what's interesting here is we see the power of the moon. We have this individual force that is just standing and letting the power of the moon do what it needs to empower, to show the journey that it's been on and where it needs to go to, and manifesting this energy. The Priestess is, okay, again, this is for Taurus, the Priestess is our reflection of ourselves. Also, I want to point out here, we have two different roses here. We have red roses and white roses. And we have the frog. The frog is one of adaptability, working with the energy forces that are out there. But going back to the roses, we're seeing the growth. We're seeing the beauty that's coming from here. Red roses deals with the heart, the emotions, love. White roses is of purity. It's of friendship. It's, for me, I take the white rose more of something that's platonic. It doesn't have the romantic connotations that we see with the red rose. The white rose is of light. It's the stage that you go from the love, from the heart, and just exuding it outward, pure and natural beauty. So the Priestess wants us to connect to those forces, what we feel within ourselves and what we need to harness. Okay. So I have mentioned in my profile for the month of Taurus how important it is to take care of ourselves. And I feel with this card here, the Priestess, this is an extension of that. Taking care of ourselves, not so much on the physical realm, but, internally. Okay. And that's something that I did emphasize in the Taurus video, the importance of self-care. And that applies to all the signs, but with the earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, there's different approaches that they take to taking care of themselves. So with Taurus tends to be, because it's ruled by the planet Venus, it's focused more on feeling good. Everything is very tactile for the 2 signs that are ruled by Venus, Libra, but in particular Taurus. Taurus likes to have comfort. And so remember that comfort of where we are in our living situation, the clothes that we wear, what feels good. If we can do that to ourselves externally, remember that we got to take care of that internally. Okay. And sometimes we can't have all of these wonderful external influences to make us feel good, like a warm bath. So when we don't have that, when we're pushed out of our comfort zone, What can we do inside to make us feel good when we don't have those kinds of influences around us? Okay, so it's a Priestess card. Okay, working with the energy that's very powerful, but learning how to harness that and bring it in internally. The card that I started rambling a bit about, that I said has come up quite a few times in past readings with this deck, is Two of Water. So with this Two of Water, what we're seeing here is the connecting to oneself, potentially to another. But here, what we're seeing is a relationship. And with the Two of Water, which is associated with the Two of Cups, I want to flip this meaning around in a different direction. With this Two of Water, I want to see this more of connecting to ourselves, reaching out within ourselves, reaching out. And remember what I was saying here with healing and taking care of ourselves? This is what I'm seeing here. Okay. We're listening to ourselves. We're feeling what's going on within ourselves. Anything that feels not right, that feels like something's missing, we need to pay attention to that, Taurus. Okay. We can get wrapped up in again, all the external things that are going on around us, work, family, so on and so forth. Remember to take that time out to listen to ourselves, and be kind and be gentle to ourselves. And this can apply to other people as well. If there is someone who is in need of some compassion, this Two of Water holds a lot of Cancer energy, nurturing, taking care of someone else, listening to their needs more so than ours. But in this case here for Taurus, I'm feeling this reading is coming more for listening to ourselves emotionally, intuitively. Okay, so let's stop for a moment and just take care of ourselves. And I know this with quite a few Tauruses. I have some very dear friends that we share the same birthday week. And when it comes to asking, what are you going to do for your birthday? It tends to be something that is self-care oriented. Going to the spa, going to have a favorite piece of, dessert, or just going away to be by themselves. Those are different forms of self-care. Meditating, grounding. Okay, so that's what we get here with the Two of Water. Also the extension of this, the Priestess. There's a spiritual opening that happens when we listen to that. So let's be mindful of that, Taurus. Third card I have here, our wonderful Wheel of Life. So this is going to cross over many different seasons. So let me see how I can show this to you here. So I believe here, let me see here. This is our spring season. And then we go into summer. Is our opposite of summer here is our winter months. Lunisod. Fall. No, sort of in between fall. This could be our Samhain time. Here's our Easter. This is Imbolc, because we have the candles there representing the beginnings of light as we move out of winter. So with the Wheel of Life here, since we are starting the spring season, I feel it's really important, Taurus, that we pay attention to these energies that take place during spring. And Tauruses represent the peak of spring season. So everything is of growth. Everything is of nurturing, harnessing what we are working on, showing care for it as well. That includes taking care of family, if you have a garden, some Tauruses are known to be pretty good green thumbs, but also it depends on their experiences. But naturally, they tend to be natural gardeners. They understand how to care for certain kinds of plants. I'm not so great. I tried growing some roses, and it's not as easy as I thought it was. But tending to that, connecting with things that are growing. If you see something that needs plant-wise, let's focus on those. If there's a plant, or if there's something that is in need of sustenance, let's start showing care for it. This also applies to animals. Tauruses love animals. They are very connected to all kinds of animals. Doesn't necessarily have to be a certain kind of um, animal, but they just love nature and those environments. So I feel with the Wheel of Life here, focusing particularly on the spring energy, let's pay attention to things that are out in our environment. If we see trash, if we're on a hike, if we see something like that, that means so much, the environment that we're in, and we want to fix it. We not fix it, but we want to clean it. Do so. You're showing respect to nature. You're showing respect to the environment that you're in. Clean. Take care. You're putting beauty into something that you see needs to be moved around. So let's work with this energy right now with the Wheel of Life for this particular season of spring. Okay. And maybe if we are removing something, if we're pulling out weeds, if we're getting ready to do that, or we're removing something that is no longer of use to us, place it with something new. Fill in that space. Okay. So that's what I have here with the Wheel of Life, focusing primarily on the spring season, or the spring season here. I can read this different ways, but this is spring, summer, Lughnasadh. Got a fall, Samhain, winter, Imbolc, and then Easter. Okay, so, but also look forward to with the Wheel of Life. Let me throw this in really quick. What you want to potentially do in the next seasons to come. Everything that we start now, everything that we are manifesting is going to evolve over the next few months until we get through the wheel of the year. And we go through all those seasons. Things are going to transform. The way I am now is going to be different as we get towards the end of the year, the end of the astrological year, the end of the wheel of the seasons. So everything's going to shape shift. Okay, but keep in mind those directions. Don't plan so far ahead, but just keep in mind whatever you start now is going to represent the outcome for the next few months. Okay. All right, so that was a long one for Taurus, but hey, Taurus gets something extra for this month, for their birth month. So this is a wonderful read. Okay, so next, let's go into Virgo. Okay, Virgo's mutable, so they're dealing with the transition of seasons. But let's see, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So let's see how Mercury energy and Venus energy goes together. Virgo and Taurus. Okay. Let's see here. Virgos are the perfectionists. They need to fully understand something before they actually take action, and they're very mindful of that. They think before they do. And sometimes maybe overthink too much, and that can also hold back. So let's see what we have here for Virgo. Okay. Oh, we got some messages here. Alrighty. There's one card here that I like, and I'll explain. Visually, I like it because I'll explain in a moment. All right, so the focus of this reading, this is for Virgo. Okay. I see stillness. I see a lot of focus and concentration. Okay, so I have one major arcana. I have a page, or the equivalent to a page. I have a court card here. But the card that sort of brings the major arcana and the page card together is Seven of Water. Now, this card is very vague in this deck. Okay, so what I'm going to be focusing on when I interpret this card is just the placement, the energy that is being represented in this card. Okay, water is very important for Earth. Water and Earth are compatible elements, fire and air. They work good together, and they fuel each other. They give the motion to get things done and to grow. But here with the Seven of Water, I'm going to point this out here for Virgo. Okay. We're seeing that there is a small point here, our water source, but everything around here, there's the land itself is it's arid, considering where I just moved right now. And there is a major water shortage here in New Mexico. So this card for me is showing the connection that we need to have to sustaining our sources. And in this card here, the source that we are sustaining is our nourishment for our own well-being, our emotions. I almost want to say that a lot of the earth signs, because of the element that they rule, I'm not saying that they're emotionally cold or disconnected, but earth signs are so focused on other things, the emotions don't really play so much into part until something comes in their way, and it awakens them. It's like it puts a realization of what's going on. And that's what I'm seeing here. There is a lack of, or a need, I shouldn't say lack, but there's a need to really nourish our souls, our well-being, Virgo. Okay. Virgo, again, spends so much time trying to put things in order, trying to get things done in a certain way so that they can, move forward the best way possible. But also, I think emotionally, they need to stay a little bit more connected to that. And so with Taurus and being ruled by Venus, let's feel a little bit more, Virgo. Okay, and I say that in some readings where I feel like there's a lot of air coming in, or a lot of cards are representing too much of mind, which is not bad. We obviously need to think and carefully put things in order when it comes to making choices. But in this case here, let's feel a little bit more. Okay, let's move more from the place of how we're planning things, but how do we feel about it? Are we doing these actions just for the sake of doing it? It makes sense, but emotionally, make sure that you feel that you are benefiting from this. Okay. Because I feel here with this card, the Seven of Water, that there is just not so much attention that's needed to this source, to taking care of yourself. So this is going to be interesting to see for the sign of Capricorn, if there's going to be a running pattern that we are not really spending enough time with ourselves for healing and nurturing ourselves, because we're too busy doing other things, facing our other responsibilities. Okay, so let's slow down, take care of ourselves, um, and move from that place, Virgo. Let's move from this place here, as opposed to thinking so much. I'm not saying that Virgos don't feel, but let's be a little bit more open with our heart and towards things. Open and being honest with yourself about how you feel about things. If it feels right, um, and where to go with it. Not that if it thinks, not that you think that it's right. How does your heart feel? Okay, I hope that makes sense. I say think. What is it? Think with your heart, feel with your mind. Okay. Think about that for a moment. Feel with your mind, think from your heart. You just reverse those roles. All right, the other card that I have here, I'm going to pull this one. This is a card that holds a special message to me because the young lady that's in this card looks very much like me. There's a photo, not to take away from the Virgo reading, but there's a photo of me as a child wearing a coat that's very similar like this. And my hair was actually in pigtails. And so when I got this deck and I saw this card, I was just taken aback. Messenger of Earth. Okay, so here we have another card associate with the element of Earth. Okay, but here we can associate with the Page of Pentacles. It's understanding where we are right now, Virgo. Okay, the messenger of Earth here is taking a moment, hold the card here, taking a moment and just stopping and assessing where things are. Okay, here the environment is winter, very hardly anything's in the landscape. But that broad view that we see here is what's needed. It's almost like a moment to just kind of look away from everything that's been going on around you and just feeling that moment of stillness. Go away from your environment, Virgo, if you can. If things are too overwhelming, go to that special place that calls to you. If you need to get away, and just start from the beginning. When you pull yourself out of a chaotic environment, it's always good to do a reset. This is what I feel here, Virgo, is important. Let's just do a reset here for a moment. The deer that we have here, it's mature, is our guide of listening and being honest to that moment. When you get away, how do you feel? And what do you see? How you feel, how you see, and what do you think? Let it all go. Reset. That's the message. Okay. Pull yourself out of your situation and reassess where you are at this moment and where you need to go. Okay, Virgo. I'm getting a feeling here that there is this need to pull away, Virgo. Okay. Primarily with this. Okay, so for the month of Taurus, let's focus on again, self-care, taking care of ourselves. Next card here, the Shaman. Okay, so listening to where you are. Remember what I was saying here with the messenger of earth? Turning your back. In this case here, the shaman has the eyes blindfolded. Listening to the environment that they're in, whether it's barren, desert, winter, mountains, forest. Here with the shaman, maybe in the forest, but just listening. The best way to reconnect, Virgo, and for all the signs, but particularly for this month of Taurus, Virgo is to literally close yourself off and just let go. You know, get to that favorite place that you want to go to where there's no distractions, nothing except Mother Nature. Oops. And just listen. You don't if you have a drum, bring it, but just listen. What is Mother Nature? What is your environment when you're away? What is Mother Nature telling you? Okay, and this is where we get the messenger of earth. This young soul is doing a reset, starting from the beginning. Trusting guidance, the guidance of nature. And also when you're in that environment, look around you. If something out of the ordinary comes to you, if an owls don't come out daytime, but if you happen to be doing this at night, or if you hear certain sounds, or if you see something that's out of the ordinary, pay attention to it. That's an extension of the message that's being told out there. And again here, you're your own shaman. You're your own spiritual guide. Listen to yourself, Virgo. Okay? Take that moment. It's a nice reading. All the readings are wonderful, the messages. But here, we have to start from this place. And here, for me, this is almost like the soul. Ideally, we'd love to see this card filled more with water. But intuitively, energy-wise, it feels like there's so much of a void here, and we need to take care of this. Because we're losing this connection to our feelings. Okay. And so it's very barren. So let's see if we can fill this up, Virgo. Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's put some more nurturing aspects. Oops. For this month. Okay. Listen to yourself. Okay. Listen to what shifts happen. There you go, Virgo. So different forms of healing and self-care for Virgo. Remove yourself. Okay, Capricorn. Capricorn ruled by Saturn. Okay, for the month of Taurus. I'm trying not to slam these cards too much on this table. Okay, let's see what we have here. Capricorn. One of the hardest working signs. I keep saying that of the earth signs. Very committed, very dedicated, workaholic times. Okay, I have a repeater card for you, Cardinal. Cardinal Capricorn. Very disciplined, very focused. Very dedicated to the cause that they have been committed to. sometimes maybe a little overcommitted. Remember I was saying the earth signs tend to be more wrapped up on the external things of what's going on. Virgo with the mind, processing information and how to dictate that the best way possible. Taurus, the physical part of working. They like to work very hard in that sense, to get things done. Capricorn pushes those realms. They work at times tirelessly for what they firmly believe in. And Saturn is ruled by Earth, so if you have Saturn and Capricorn, boy, you are right set there with of being a very committed individual, very much aware of time and how much you put into your work. So for Capricorn, what I have here for you, I have another major arcana card. This card came up earlier, so it came back again. I have the element of air, and I have the element of fire. I have a court card here. So, card that I am focusing on in relationship to the two other cards that I'll be showing here. Got here two of air. It's our hedgehog. Now, what's interesting here is when you see this card right off the bat, like immediately you're like, what does a hedgehog and this tree that seems to be split have to do with air? When you look at it after I read the book, when I looked at the card again, it's representing lungs. And so I thought that was pretty brilliant of Phyllis Carrot and Daniel Barlow to depict this card in the way that it is. Two of air. Okay, so we see the life, the sustaining of this tree, but also the way the tree has been formed as the wind passes through. The hedgehog can represent our innocence. And let me also point out here too, we have the two crows that are on top of the tree, so they are overseeing. Okay, remember, crows are messengers. So Capricorn, with this two of air, two of swords, if you like to put association to the RWS, but this two of air is just working in our environment, but not to be so intense. Let's create space. I say this almost tirelessly when I do a reading for Capricorn. Again, depending on the cards that are associated around the reading, if I'm focusing on Capricorn energy, is space is needed. Capricorn has so much restrictions that they put upon themselves, which is amicable, but we need movement. That Saturn influence that rules Capricorn can really be binding. Capricorn is also ruled by the major arcana card of the devil. So we see us being overly committed, maybe overly bound to certain kinds of habits. We need to move. We need to create some space. So Capricorn, for this month of Taurus, okay, here's another form of self-care. How about easing back on that energy, Capricorn? Okay, take care of yourself in that sense. Don't overwork yourself. I know easier said than done, when there's a deadline, and I know the work industry has changed globally for everyone, but you have that time that you can take, to care for yourself. Give yourself the space. Okay. And we have space, we have expansion. There's more to grow. There's more to see. Okay. We have this tree here that's just all bound up. Let's say it's pushed in with some other trees that are in the way. It's kind of hard for for the shape of this tree to move naturally. That's why trees get cut down, so that there's not an overabundance of growth where there could be damage done, forest fires as we see. So we need the space, and here we see it. Okay, and our messengers here, the crows. Okay, the crows are higher up on this tree, so they're seeing everything. They have the room. They have a clear view. Remember the cards that I had with Virgo, the messenger of Earth. It was an open landscape. You have that space. Create the space for you. Okay. Breathe. Give yourself some time to breathe. Any anxiety that you have needs to be addressed. Okay. So I'm tying in everything here in regards for taking care of ourselves. Okay. That's very important for the month of Taurus. Okay. What are things that are of great importance to us? And Capricorn, once it sees that what's needed to be taken care of, they'll go into it. So if it's like treating themselves out to, a massage, or spending a little bit more on something that they feel is really deserved, they'll do it. They won't be extravagant about it, but they'll put the investment in what is best for them, because they know what they put in is going to benefit them. But you have to be aware of that, Capricorn. Okay, take care of yourself, but don't overly invest in things. Don't go over the top. That's too Venusian. And I think that Saturn influence of Capricorn will contain that. It'll buy nice things, but it won't go over the top. Okay. So again, with the Two of Air, we're looking at space. Giving the space for you to expand, to breathe clearly, to feel, to think clearly. You owe that to yourself. Okay. Next card I have here, there's a fire card. Craftsman of Fire. Okay, so this is the equivalent to the Knight. So we're seeing action. We're seeing things going right to work. Okay. So the way I want to read this card for you, Capricorn, is you have that dedication. You have that commitment for getting things done. Okay, so let's transfer this commitment into yourself. Okay. If there's a part of you that is so important that needs to be shifted, do it. Okay. Make that commitment to yourself. This is the internal version of what needs to be done within yourself. The work that you put into your own work, your business, into other things. You're going to put this kind of drive and energy into you and this dedication. Okay. Don't be too self-judging, Capricorn, when you're doing this process. Okay. Remember what I'm saying, let's create space. Let things happen as they do. Try not to take control if something comes in and it's not quite the direction you want it to have happen. Let it happen. Just go with it. Okay. Now, when you work with fire, okay, fire is just that. Fire moves around. It's going to do its own thing. You do have to have some form of containment, but don't over control it. Okay. We don't want to close off this force of air, which fuels the fire. We don't want to exhaust it. We don't want to extinguish it. Give yourself enough space so the energy can move. The fire energy, the healing energy, the clearing energy can move through and do what it needs to do naturally. Try not to control so much, okay, Capricorn? Here's our repeater card. Okay. Go in the direction of the energy of what's happening right now with spring. Okay. Go out. Enjoy what's happening outside of your environment instead of within. If things are a little sort of locked down for you because of work, or you don't feel like it's safe to go outside, let's start moving outward. Okay. This card holds similar meaning to what I had for the sign of Taurus for this month. Okay, so this is spring season. Okay, so Capricorn, let's go out and enjoy. Capricorns, I feel, can be introverted. They tend to, because of their commitments and their dedication to work and other things, they tend just to be one-sided or focused in one set direction. Okay, Capricorn, expansion. Just be a little bit more open. Take advantage of the season. And then when you get to your month or to your season, the winter season, that's where Capricorns are very strong, because they have that time of being more internal, and that's where they feel comfortable. They have their own environment to work in, and it's comfortable because during those winter months, things tend to become more internal, but Capricorn is still doing things. They are still being productive. So that energy changes for that month. But spring, the ideas of going out and whatnot seems to be something that Capricorn likes to do because of their commitment to things. Okay. Now, again, depending on your placements of signs and whatnot, Capricorn, if you have some Taurus in you and some water in you, that influence of Capricorn can change. So you may feel that draw to maybe go out more. Okay. And so for this month, let's go out. Let's use the Venusian energy. Venus tends to be more of a water influence, and Saturn and Earth. Okay. Let's bring some Venus into this season. Okay, Capricorn, let's take care of ourselves from here. Okay, don't worry about everyone else. And that's going to be hard to tell a Capricorn not to worry, but let go and give yourself that time, which is so important. Okay. And work will always be there. I'm not saying to stop work for weeks or months, but take that time out and enjoy as the season starts changing, wherever you are. Okay. So treat yourself to that. All signs deserve a form of taking care of themselves. You just have to work for it. You have to make it happen. Okay. So Capricorn, let's start moving toward that energy. The dedication put into your work, put it into yourself, and create that space that's needed. Okay. More expansion, less contraction. Okay. Alrighty, so there you have it. This was a bit of a long one for all the signs, earth signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, but I want to share what I was feeling and getting from these cards. Okay, so any questions that you have or comments, leave them below. For readings, you could book through my website. All the information again is in the description. And I will be doing our next reading for the sign for our air signs, because our next sign after Taurus is Gemini. So I will be doing the next episode for the signs of Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. All right, so stay tuned for that. And again, have a wonderful week, everyone. Happy birthday, Tauruses, sun, moon, rising. And we are entering our decan for Taurus, April 19th, 20th, give or take a day, to about April 30th, May 1st. And the minor arcana card that influences that first decan is the Five of Pentacles, or coins. So you can make reference to those cards, 5, 6, and 7 of coins. That will be for the 3 decans for the month of Taurus. Okay. Take a look at that Taurus profile that I recorded, and to get more information about the Taurus characteristics and profiles, I will be doing those for each astrological sign that we go in. Okay, that's it. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you next. Air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius.